Yeah, so I think a lot of the commercial centers across Africa have actually started seeing the relevance of this of data protection legislation. Some of them are still at a very rudimentary stage. Some of them are still just talking about it, but a lot of countries have started enacting local data privacy legislation. And I'll take South Africa for example, because that's my current context. You know, the PAPIA Act that you speak about, it's a very comprehensive piece of legislation, and it's very comparable to the GDPR in the sense that it covers a lot of those minimum processing conditions for personal information. It goes a step further in the sense that we don't limit data subjects to being just individuals. Corporations are actually data subjects as well. So we actually look to actually protect the personal information of these corporations. So PII of these corporations would be some of your registration numbers, some of the any information that's unique to that organization that actually becomes identifiable with that organization. So the local regulator has done a lot of work, and we've also just built a great relationship with them because I like the approach that they've taken where they don't understand business the way we understand business. So they're open to that. They are the law experts. They drive the constitutional outcomes that need to filter into actual data privacy laws. So working with them, they've been very open to actually just understanding what's our context, what are the things that we're grappling with as well, just in terms of actually either interpreting the legislation or actually implementing it. To the extent that one of the associations of the banks locally, which is like an industry body, actually came up with a code of conduct, which basically takes the law and says this is how we understand it, but this is how we're actually going to implement it. So we're not overriding the law or the letter of the law, but this is how we can practically implement it, because some of the things that um, may be interpreted in terms of some of the principle-driven legislation, they're wide open to interpretation. So as the banking industry, people just came together and said, this is how we actually see it planning out, and the regulators approved that code of conduct, so it's actually in effect now, and that's what we're actually working with as well. So there's a lot of work going on across the continent, and I think people have realized that because data moves across borders, with adequacy rulings across, from different countries or different jurisdictions, you need to have something to show for how well you're actually going to uphold those regulatory obligations as data is passing through your territory. So yes, there is a big wake-up call, and a lot of countries are actually coming on board with that. So it makes it easier, especially working in a multinational corporation like this, to actually just understand the law and actually just make sure that whenever we do transfer data to some of those jurisdictions, it's adequately protected, and the obligations can also be upheld in those territories.